my 7 a.m. Beijing time.
Oh, yeah. Or I'm like looking at the other times here.
I was briefly, I closed it, but.
Well, I'm looking at the other times, and the one I was going to go to was one that I just inherently know. It was like, or 1600 in Vancouver. Oh, wait. It's like, yeah, I've always known Pacific time.
It's an hour before. I thought you were going to go like LHR or something, but I don't think they're back.
LHR?
It's still done.
Yeah, no, I think they're off the planet, yeah.
Yeah, Heathrow shut down. It's, you know, I
God.
feel good about that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. LGW was cooler anyway.
They gave Alec Guinness so much trouble shipping his dogs. Like, you know, they had it coming karmically since then, since like 1998.
Oh, for sure.
Just why are you hassling Sir Alec Guinness's like Oscar-winning self? Just come on.
Well, I mean, we both know because that's what you do. You just hassle them about dogs. That's how you do it.
Did you give him some medicine or something? Wow, you shouldn't have done that. You screwed up. I'm gonna have to stamp this. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about fake Europe in the past or wherever this is.
Yeah, I don't know that this is necessarily Europe.
Well, it's like the castles and everything seem like European castles. Japanese Europe, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we're going to be talking more Conviction arc. This one is going to be the Binding Chain chapter, much shorter. So
yeah, I was surprised how short it was. I was like, no, it's a big story, and it's like, no, it's like 100 pages or something. Like it's really not that big.
Yeah,
it's the latter third of volume 16, and then like the first third of volume 17.
Yeah,
so
like maybe short. One volume by itself worth.
Yeah, I'm once again not Ben. This is Nathan, still substituting while Ben recovers, and potentially joining in more frequently though. So get used to that. If you were like really enjoying just Ben and Paul, I'm really sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
I'll be third seat though. I'll try to keep it down in the subsequent weeks, but. For this one, we're jumping in right after Rosina's left the scene to go eat some kids. Yeah, and I got this wrong last week. I looked it up right after the show. I was like, how do you pronounce this character's name? I actually don't know, and it's Farnese because she's Italian. So
okay, that makes sense.
I just assumed Farnese and was thinking in France terms or something, but the seat of the Holy Catholic Church is Rome.
Yeah.
So, and the Holy See seems to have some commonalities, I would say, in how they comport themselves. So,
sure, that makes sense.
We gotta adjust, and plus, her friend is Serpico, and that's right. Italian as it gets. That's that hero cop from the Al Pacino movie. So, yeah. Should have taken that as a clue, but oh well. This is mostly about her and her interactions with our guy Guts. Yep. And how it kind of redefines her faith and whatnot, maybe a little bit, hopefully, because she learns a lot in 120 pages or whatever.
So do we, though. We learn a lot about what elves are in this world, which is
a little bit,
an annoyance, I guess.
To some, yeah. To those who only see the rigid world, they are just a pest. It's like, what's plucking at my lip? Stupid. I don't like it. So they just ignore it. Yeah. But before we get there, I guess Guts is running off into the woods. He just got shot with an arrow, and he's fleeing into the forest.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thrown for a bit here as to like why he isn't at his best. Like somehow immediately forgetting he just got stabbed through the arm and like dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, the giant fight that just happened.
It's like, oh yeah, right. He's like totally worn down from that boss battle. So he is at low health right here. He's got like 10% HP. He should have probably gotten some of those bonuses that make you attack better when you're low HP, but he said, nah, I'm always high HP. I got potions.
Yeah.
Puck's going to help me out. I actually calls him that by name which impresses Puck. So their friendship's blooming.
Yeah, there's a bunch of that in here, actually, too.
And he decides he's good for medicinal purposes, so he'll keep him around. Sure. So it's nice, nice, sweet little moment. The broship between those two deepens.
Sure. Also, we get kind of a look at maybe a very literal representation of the demon that's lurking inside of him, talking to him.
Yeah, you get the beast form or whatever. It's kind of this like blobby fox morpher. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
Kind of maybe like a little bit of like the long nose of Frankenweenie, but much scarier. And he can like shapeshift into Femto to kind of taunt Guts about that. It's like, oh, maybe you'll turn into a badass demon too, huh? It's like, shut up, leave me alone. That's not what I'm doing. But we also got like the Skull Knight dude, like hot on the trail, like seeing the wreckage and everything. And he, like, I thought he ate the Behelit that Guts had, so therefore he no longer has one, but it must have been a different one,
This is the one he plucked from the tree itself. The Halloween tree that he had bought at the beginning of the chapter. He reaches into like the roots or something and pulls it out.
So the thing that was corrupting that tree is now gone, I guess
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Does he destroy them when he eats them?
I have no idea. I thought maybe he just thinks they're delicious.
It's like, oh yeah, evil. So savory.
Yeah. I mean, that's another Dark Souls thing, though, right? There like literally is a character that you just feed like humanity pellets to, essentially.
Oh, sure. Or like how each covenant has like an item you give them. Like maybe they eat them. It's like, here, I brought you this. And yes, I'm trying not to bring up Proof of Concord Kept, my least favorite one. But like fingers or something, isn't that one? Those weren't too bad. I think you give fingers to one of them, which was apparently screwing up a whole quest line. Sorry, we won't get into that. But if you start donating the wrong things to the wrong covenant, other characters will be like, "Oh, you're with those guys? I'm not going to talk to you this playthrough. Then I'm out."
Oh, sure.
Great. Yeah. Now I can't hang out with this guy. But okay. So, totally weary from this battle, Guts passes out in the forest and starts getting swarmed by little ghouls, right?
Yeah.
Like little demons start coming upon him. And that sets the stage for Puck's big action scene. He just kind of dualies like dandelions or something and just
I can't tell what it is. What these are. Are they just like balls of light or something, of like fairy something? Elf something?
Fairy flails something. Yeah. I don't know. But it's like the middle of the day, I guess. It's important context for later. So he's able to dispel all these little like critters or whatever that are coming up. Yeah, he starts smashing them and saves Guts, I guess, because he's in a super weakened state. How do you feel about Puck's game face? Like it's kind of chin out, like
tough. It's very weird, and especially in contrast to like the crazy amount of detail everything else gets in these.
Yeah, there was a little note under one panel that's like Mayamura drawn, thanks Mayamura, or something like this. Like one of the battle things. It's like, okay, so somebody else guessed it in to draw this super simple, weird little drawing.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, I forget if I mentioned it last week, but it was kind of this thing of like, there's no way to make Puck fighting look cool, so they just kind of lean into him looking goofy.
Yeah, I think it's smart actually to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's comic relief, and that continues. But he does save the day, and that's what prompts the like maybe, hey, thanks for the hand there, Puck. Yeah, that's my name. You know my name. Wow, great. And then they head off. Okay, does the Holy See think they're on the trail of Femto during this? Because they keep calling it like the Black Hawk or something, right? The Hawk of Darkness.
That's what I assume, but I don't know. It's weird because the Band of the Hawk, he was part of the Band of the Hawk, so they might be.
He was also a hawk, right?
Yeah.
But it's just that Femto kind of looks like a hawk, and maybe like, have we gotten to where there's like people have had visions of like a glowing gold hawk or whatever, like a bright hawk?
I don't think so.
Okay, sorry. But it's just they keep saying Hawk of Darkness, so maybe if you have a nightmare, you see Femto or something, and he's kind of shaped that way. But whatever, they're definitely on the trail of the Black Swordsman, and they know that.
Yeah.
And they come upon him and kind of surround him, and we get like the Holy Iron Chain Knights, or the Iron Holy Chain. Darn it, should have written it down again.
Holy Iron, I think. Chain Knights.
Holy Iron, yeah. They're basically like rich kids. They're posers, really. Like they just are. So once that was established, I started worrying for them in the same way I was fearing for like innocent villagers or like barrel makers or whatever who like piss off guts, because you're just like, oh, you guys are not cut out for this guy. I know he's really hurt, but this won't
kill
go
all
well.
of you. Yeah,
he could easily cause real problems for you.
Yeah.
But hey, they're convicted. They gotta go. Like Farnese orders them to capture him. Don't kill him though, which is an extra hindrance to their attacks. Oh. And this was another like, I don't know, foggy memory of like how exactly Guts was hurt in the previous fight. He can't swing his sword, and for a while I was wondering what was up with that. But he has that huge stab that just happened, and like poison arm. Maybe. Yeah. So his arm is like seized up and he can't swing for a bit there. Yeah. And he still lands like a super punch on a dude, probably kills him because his face gets mushed real good.
Yeah. Their heads just like explode when he hits them.
I at least he's lost an eye for sure. And his jaw is mush. Like this guy's in trouble. But eventually he just has to do something. So he just like the wound just rips open again. And he's able to swing and just halves a bunch of dudes. Like just one swipe, like 6 rich kids are diced. So
it's so gross.
But to his like in defense of him, like he is set upon by like 100 dudes or something in this case. Sure, they're not up to snuff really as warriors, but he doesn't know that. They're trying to stop him. And you know, he's in his rights to do this. Azan takes the front here, though. Vice Commander Azan. That's how you say it, right? He is also known as Iron Club at Azan, and he's going to take on Guts.
He's an actual fighter. Yes.
Yes, he's a real knight of old. So like he's had battle experience. So this is a different matchup. Do you want to talk about this fight a little bit?
I like that there's I like that Guts had heard of him or whatever. The Bridge Knight or whatever they called him before.
Oh, yeah. He's got a little legend to his name where he defended a bridge and stopped people from crossing it famously or whatever. Because
he was like helping an old dude cross it or something.
Sure, that's right. Yeah, so he's a good man, I guess. We
get a lot of like characterization that this dude is also like 100-man fight. Like, I fought 100 guys. Like, so what? I'm you. Basically, I can do what you do, but like not really.
Back in his prime, maybe. Like this is him in his later days. But I did enjoy that his helmet has like a mustache made of quills, kind of coming out the front. Because he's got a big bushy like push broom, but it's sort of represented in his helmet also. It's a nice little touch.
Very like old school style samurai garb just in general. He has the like the shoulder and pad. He looks like a samurai essentially, which is kind of odd that he's working with the Italian type people here, but we find out that he was kind of conscripted. Like maybe we get some story of like maybe he isn't exactly like care about the religious aspect of this. He's just kind of a good dude trying to do good things, and he grew in with people that say they do good or whatever.
Sure. In theory, the church should be a place where good things happen and charity goes on. But we'll see kind of what this church has been up to in this century, though, in the coming weeks, I guess. But yeah.
So he uses a kind of, think Darth Maul, like a two-sided spear type thing, but instead of a spear, it has club ends. I can't remember the name of this actual, but he just called, like, I mean, given his nickname Iron Club Azen, like, it's probably just Iron Club. But yeah, he does like this summer poke or something, like it's like 100 stab kind of gesture that knocks guts back quite a bit, to the point where he kind of takes the measure of the battle and is just like, all right, I'd have to give it all to try to take down this guy. So that's not a good play, because then there's still 50 other people here. They'll just arrest me. So I'm gonna go after their leader. And then he kind of does this weird like springboard thing off the club, jumps over Azen, and he's like, what? Oh no, I'm a footstool. This sucks. And then lands right up there next to Lady Farnese and kills her bodyguards. Like her two guys get chopped in half, and she has to do something herself, and she's like quivering with fear. This is her first time doing anything like this, and she just kind of closes her eyes and thrusts out her sword and manages to get him right in the shoulder neck area. And I guess it's enough to drop him for now. So they managed to apprehend him. But yeah, it's her first time drawing blood, really. So just this weird dumb luck thing of like, or whatever. But yeah, I wonder if any reasoning for that would be, because like, I know they say when you're doing like fighting anything, you're like really reading an opponent. Maybe it's harder to read somebody when they're like aimlessly thrusting and not actually like looking or have any like readability to what they're about to do. So like maybe that's why part of it is like guts was thrown off, because she's just like or whatever. It's
like blind stab, and it's like, oh weird, what a strange move. Like
literally button mashing IRL.
And manages to land a blow that is sufficient. So he's arrested now. The rest of the knights kind of start setting upon Guts, enraged because he just killed like 8 of them or something.
Yeah.
And I really admired like Azen stepping in here, because he's just like, oh no, like what are you guys doing? Like you are mocking the valor of knights if you do that. Like he answered sword for sword. He is of no fault. Like stand down kind of thing, because they're gonna like beat up an unarmed arrested dude at some point, like perhaps kill him. And Azen is like, no, that's totally dishonorable. You are like mocking the fight we just had and like the people that fell or whatever. So it was a nice little like, oh, he's old code or something. Like he's got the code of honor that there's a line I didn't write down. It's just he who lives by the sword must be prepared to fall by it or something like that. Like it was just kind of this, like if you take up the sword, you got to be ready to fall. That's the whole deal. You can't just assume it only goes your way all the time. Like I guess this order of knights, I was really like, they're so fake. Like
yeah, totally.
Like they're just all like garnish or whatever. Like they're not really battle hardened or whatever, except this guy. Totally. And perhaps Serpico has something going on. Like you get a little glimpse of like some ability he has, but he knows his limits too, which I admire. We'll get to his moment later. But this is where they like take the Behelit off of him, like when they're taking his possessions or whatever. So I was like, oh, weird, he does still have one. And so I didn't notice that it was like the trees one specifically.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, this is where we got the conversation too between him alone in her tent or whatever. And he just kind of like openly mocks her, which is this whole part like was really just satisfying in some weird way to me. I don't respect authority figures at all.
Yeah, and this is like religious authority figures that will kind of see some differences between like how people are carrying their faith or whatever. Like, I feel like Farnese is very like she has read this book a lot. She is devoted to an idea or something, but she doesn't really have much firsthand experience of a lot of stuff. So she's a lot of talk, not a lot of like wisdom or something, you know? So yeah, he calls her out as like, you are as hollow as these statues, and she flips out. Like she goes berserk maybe in this issue.
He starts whipping him with the like, what is that, like a cat of nine tails?
Cat of nine tails. I was trying to count them. I think there's maybe more. It might be 10 or more, but that's essentially the idea. Cat of nine tails, like little barbs of metal stuff on the end of leather strips. Yeah. And she's just starting to rip him up pretty bad. Just a brief bit, like slightly before that, I feel like the scale of Dragon Slayer is really well depicted because she's standing next to it. And you just see like, oh yeah, it's fully like the height of a person and then some, you know?
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like just you're not seeing it wielded and like swinging around or whatever. It's just standing there like a fridge or something next to a person. And you're just like, this is really big. It's like too big. So nice to see. But yeah, she kind of loses her cool and just starts ripping, like just slap, slap, slap. To the point where there's enough commotion that like Azen comes in. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm interrogating the suspect. Like this? What? And it's like, get out, go away. We're busy, kind of thing. So yeah, this moment comes up later in her mind as like a temptation or whatever of what's really going on.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess. Before Guts successfully triggers her, I was kind of amused by like his odd slangy way of talking. Like he's like, I'm not going to do any confessing. I'm not about repenting. He kind of like cuts off the G. It's like, all right, yeah, he's a little country or something.
Yeah.
in his way of talking about it. But yeah, he has no time for organized religion either, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, go ahead. If you had a
no, thought. I was just gonna continue on. If you had something in this still scene,
it's most the scene after where like this. I liked how this issue ended. Like it was a nice little cliffhangery moment. But yeah, you talk more about the scene. Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna go to. How Azen comes in and is just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" or whatever. So she does the like get him out of my sight sort of thing. I gotta pray now. And they throw him in a cage outside or whatever, just sitting there. But yes, the way it ends with just this like weird little demonic thing being like sacrifice.
Crawling out of the cracks in the ground or whatever. But it was like a bit of a dilemma because we just saw him pass out in the forest and almost get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it's like happening again, but now he's in iron stocks or whatever and in a cage with no weapons. So it's a bit more like, he's in a bit of trouble here. So it was a nice little dramatic, like, I gotta get that volume 17. What's going to happen?
Totally.
So then I opened volume 17 and kept reading. Sure. And Puck sort of saves the day again, but they established like, oh no, he was only able to like beat up those things because it was like high noon. At night they're more ferocious and they were their weakest.
Means.
Yeah. So fortunately he stole the keys though to the cage, and that enables Guts to get out. So the friendship is still strong. Like they still need each other.
Yeah, for sure.
To keep on trucking. So yeah. The play seems to immediately be like, I'll take Farnese hostage.
Yeah.
And they catch her in the middle of kind of flaying herself or whatever. Like she's punishing herself for being no good. I don't know. Self
flagellation.
Cat of nine tailings a little bit.
Yeah.
So she's topless through this whole chapter because of this.
Yeah,
he does not give her the benefit of a shirt.
I mean, Guts is too, for what it's worth.
He steals his kit back though. It's kind of like video game situation where like, oh, Arthur got kidnapped, so all of his stuff is in this box or whatever. You got to go get it.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. So he suits up again with his arm and everything.
But not before judo chopping her like Austin Powers to knock her out, which is so good. Yeah,
he just like sneaks right up on her. She's like, oh, and then karate chop to the neck or whatever. She's down. Yep. Throws her over his shoulder and has a torch ready to set her on fire if anyone tries to mess with him. So
then he does the like arguably one of the more evil things he's done in a while. He just like sets the horses on fire to like scatter them.
I had to go back to look at it. I was like, what did he? It's like, yes, he sets their tails on fire to like get them panicking and running through the camp to cause commotion.
Terrible. That's so rude.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty mean bit, but I swear like Zorro or somebody's done that. But maybe he just cuts them loose and slaps their butts or something so they run instead of just shortcut it.
I feel like it might have even been better to just like burn them with the flame on their butt. Something that wouldn't like continuously just set on fire. Just the heat alone.
Maybe once the tail hair has burnt away though, it'll stop, right? Because they have short hair. So those horses will survive. They'll just have scarred tails and be upset.
Hopefully.
Because in my headcanon, those horses were not killed. But this is reminding me now that like Samson does this with like foxes. He sets foxtails on fire and sends them through like the Roman fields or whatever, like the Philistines or whatever. And it's just like, screw your harvest. I'm just gonna burn all this.
Fucking terrible.
He's a hero though. I don't know. Whatever. So, okay, yes. There's also this bit where she wakes up on the horse and is just kind of like, no, screw it. I'd rather fall off and die than be the prisoner of an apostate. Yeah. And he kind of calls her bluff and just starts dangling her over the rocks as they race by. And it's like, all right, fine. Like, whatever. Like, I had enough of that. Yeah. And like pulls her back up.
Yeah. Her head just like right up next to the ground, basically. Yeah. That's fucked up. It's pretty
a little bit. It makes her a little more docile of a hostage for a bit. And this is where the kind of Puck tries to interact with her. Yeah. Like, it's like, yeah, I know this guy, right? He's such a jerk. And then she doesn't really react to it.
Yeah.
But I think she can still maybe vaguely feel it, right? Like he's sort of tugging at her lip and stuff. And then she's like, hey, stop toying with me or whatever. But she's talking to Guts. Like she assumes he's tickling her, being a doofus, and isn't perceiving that there's another entity there.
Yeah. Kind of interesting development. It's like, oh, is Puck actually like invisible to people? Like
it's like only children see him.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of like fantastical monsters or something where that's true. Like, oh, only kids can see this thing. Only kids see ET.
And like animals or something. Yeah.
Except that's not true. Yeah. And then Puck kind of describes this situation where it's like, oh yeah, I heard that like this old fortune teller lady said people who cling to the rigid world can't perceive us.
Yeah.
And I guess the word I was thinking for that is like doctrinal, maybe. Like she's very doctrinal. She only knows what she's read and is like committed to that mindset. So things outside of it, she just won't entertain. So her night of discovery of that realm, I guess, is only beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, right. Okay, so right after that, you get like Serpico is given chase. He's got a crossbow and he's about to line up a shot, and then a bunch of ghosts kind of spring up and rush past him.
Yeah,
and I feel he sees those right away, right?
Yes,
like he can see that. Could Farnese see them, or did it take a little while? Because like she's looking right in the face of like a Slimer type dude who like comes up and starts teasing her cheeks and stuff. I was trying to like understand if he was conveying like she's feeling this but not seeing it, or she starts to see it, because there's a little question mark over her head and she starts to like maybe tune in, you know.
She has a panel where she's saying like what is going on or whatever. I think to like people that aren't attuned yet, or like it's just darkness, like covered in shadow, essentially. Because yes,
like irrational shadows are springing up, kind of thing.
Because that's how it starts. But then yes, I think like once it starts like actually grabbing her face and like right in front of her, I think that's when
she starts like sensing an entity or perhaps even seeing it.
And that's that's right when also Guts says like, keep your eyes open and watch.
Like God's giving us show tonight or something.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This is the real stuff right here. Like this is the supernatural I know, not your nonsense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I guess he stabs that one, like just like cuts through it right off the side of the horse.
Yeah.
Does she cause them both to kind of tip off, freaking out, or like something goes on here where they're thrown from the horse?
Yeah, I think her like freaking out startles the horse and like it bucks them off, from what I can tell, or something.
Either that or the wild dogs they encounter cause the horse to buck them off. But either way, they're bucked off and now surrounded by dogs who are convenient vessels for these demons.
Yes.
And we get real devil dogs. Which I didn't bring it up last week, I don't think, but like it's a better opportunity for it here because you get like a close up of these dogs' faces and eyes and everything. It reminded me of like John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness has this scene where like an axe killer comes up on them, but there's like a close up of his face and his pupils are splitting and are insane looking.
Oh, you know? Okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, that dude's wrong. Like it's a great little shorthand. Like that dude's not a normal crazy person. I enjoyed this kind of like these dogs are now monster dogs and they look weird and humanoid in strange ways. And one of them has like a smash close up or whatever of like pupils starting to split as they start talking to them. Yeah, it's cool stuff. And she has to see those because they're possessed creatures.
She does. She says like, how is this happening or something? And he said, that's why it's a miracle.
It's like, this can't be happening. It's like, that's what makes it a miracle.
This qualifies. Is a real miracle. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, Guts commences to slice and dice these dogs. And we get like one really great panel of like the kind of split faced dog with like a grinning human teeth inside it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's great stuff. And then she runs away from this battle to try to escape on a horse. And then we get the great human, like demon horse reveal on the next page.
Yeah. Like, I straight up knew where this was going too.
As she was running towards it, I was like, oh, what would stop them from possessing the horse? And it's like, yeah, you get demon horse.
Yeah. As soon as you saw the demon horse, did you know the next like page without even, I knew exactly where this was going to go. Cause yeah.
I don't know, maybe, but I was also hung up on more From Software business because like this reminded me of like one of my least favorite Bloodborne bosses, which is Ludwig, who's like a weird mashed up knight / horse with kind of the elongated face features of a horse and stuff. And you get some of that here. So that dude's no good, I guess, is apparent right away. And then, oh, you're going to mount a horse, huh? Well, I'll mount you or whatever. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah, this is where this is going. So,
yeah. It leads to some like this manga depicts PTSD very well.
Yeah, this potential rape situation with a horse immediately triggers bad memories for Guts, and we get like a frame of the Casca situation with Femto, and then Puck kind of reading that from him for the first time. Like it kind of was like, oh yeah, he wasn't there for any of that. He didn't know any of this happened.
Right.
So this is his first inkling into that dark, like the darkest chapter of Guts's past. And you get like a flicker of Puck's impression of it or whatever, as it ripples through him. But I guess Guts uses this memory as like his most fierce anger fuel for fighting.
Yeah.
And he kind of like thanks her in this weird backhanded way of like, hey, this is the worst I ever feel. So this is perfect for fighting. but so thanks or whatever. Like he has a weird offhand. But before he does that, he immediately like saves her. And it was my like biggest like whoa moment of the whole thing is his like blade pause after he cleaves the head
of the horse
off the horse. He's able to still his blade before it cuts her.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's hard. That's like tough to do, I would imagine. Like to drop a guillotine and then pause it. There's a couple like pauses on her like freaking out underneath this blade covered in blood from this murder, like this evil lewd horse that just attacked her. It's a big moment for Farnese's development, I guess, of like, crap, that can happen. So
and like Puck's understanding also like finally starts kicking in a little bit more of like, oh, this guy is like legitimately broken. So this reminded me, because it's been a while, I forgot Puck is an empath in which elves can like literally read.
Yeah, Counselor like, Troy style or something.
Like read your mind in some way, but by feeling like intense emotions, they can kind of like connect with what is like causing that or
what's
whatever.
Causing it in the person. Yeah. Yeah.
But like this is a moment where Puck's like, oh fuck, just right from this is real bad because in the first time
early sure
Puck knows that there's a darkness there, but he's not really sure like, oh what, did like somebody drop your ice cream or like it could be anything. Right, he could just be a broody asshole, but now it's starting to, the picture is being painted a little clearer.
Yeah, because Puck asking, like, what's wrong with you or whatever kind of kicked off the golden, like, arc or whatever, like, where we jump back in time to, like, explain what's wrong with Guts. Yeah. But we got privileged to that. Puck still wasn't really aware, so...
That's hard to remember this far in.
And I guess, again, like, last time you brought up, like, after the Blood Lake, it's a 2-year jump. Like, this is the first time Guts has vividly remembered that night. In 2 years also, he basically says. So it's like, not a lot of stuff churns up that memory for him. So it's his first time realizing it for a while. So, yeah. Okay. So this all has really weakened her constitution, I guess, right? She's failed several roles at this point. Yeah. And she's ready for some bad business to go on. So... she's in a weakened state and starts thinking back to when she was like flogging Guts and like a little dark voice inside is like, hey, you enjoyed that. You were getting off on that. Like that was your morbid lust or whatever coming in. And she's like in this like shameful memory or whatever of how it made her feel, allows her to be possessed by a weird entity that kind of looks like her for a second when it enters her body or whatever. Yeah. And she kind of sets upon Guts in this weird, like self-destructive, lusty way. It was this stuff like not quite PTSD, but definitely unlocked a memory for me of like, I remember one time I was clicking around on Newgrounds, I think it was, and found some hentai I did not enjoy. That was too far. You know, guillotine involved, like, ooze into that. She is like straddling his blade in this really like cringy way and asking to be split open and whatnot. And it's a lot. It's a pretty explicit business happening and creeping Guts out. What sets her right again? Like she manages
dawn
to shake
is
it off.
Coming up. Yeah, the dawn is starting. Around this time, they had been fighting all night, and Puck is able to like see the weakened, I'm guessing, demonic representation of whatever is behind her head, and just like smacks it out of her, literally.
Okay, I guess it's sort of trying to fully take her over still, and she's got this other head kind of hovering behind her or whatever. So yeah, Puck's able to like remember his failure earlier when it was pitch night. And then it's like, oh, wait, but now it's daytime. I can take care of it. And he does. Right. And then everything kind of she's kind of back. She's sober again and kind of is deeply ashamed again of what she's up to. Yeah. And Serpico catches up with him at that point and she orders him to kill Guts.
Yeah.
Which was I love this interaction with Serpico because he's just like, to be honest, that is not possible for me. Like you saw him, you know how super strong he is. I can't compete. And she slaps him, but he's right. I appreciated there's a character that like takes a look at Guts and goes, I can't fight that guy. What are you talking about? And backs off of that invitation. So yeah, it's that said, he still tries to pull a trick attack.
He draws on him, yeah.
Yeah, he draws on him, his eyes kind of turn fierce, and he manages to like nick his cheek or something, and Guts like demolishes his boot.
Yeah.
And they complement each other's draw styles and like part ways. So yeah, it's like polite attack, I guess. It's like, hey, my master ordered me to do this, so I have to do this.
I have to try, yeah.
I have to at least make a good faith effort, and I guess Guts respects it, and they're fine. So, yeah, I guess briefly still on Serpico at this moment too. He like says goodbye to both of them, and they highlight that like, oh, he sees Puck. Like
yes.
Serpico sees the ghosts, sees Puck. Whatever it is about his faith in the Holy See, he is not as like close-minded as Farnese is or whatever. Like he's able to see this stuff, which I thought was kind of neat. And yeah, we'll see more of this posse later, like Azan and Serpico and Farnese, obviously. So right. How they interact with their leadership and stuff is kind of where the story's going. Sure. But I don't know much about that stuff though, because I basically finished this volume. And that's where it leaves off. So, but yeah, it's kind of this short little in-between story.
Yeah, important stuff in here too. I'm guessing they set it up. Like I didn't read past this, but the way this chapter ends is with her kind of walking off, still saying like, we need to kill him or die. And then she has not gotten over the apostate label or whatever. Like he's big trouble for their whole thing, I guess. So she says something like, if he's allowed to live, then I ... And I haven't read further, so I don't know what that ending thought is.
Yeah, she is not coming to terms with her own humanity or something. Like it's like she is not allowed to feel lust. She is not allowed to sin. And she is deeply upset with herself right now and projecting that out on this weird swordsman, I would assume, and everything he represents or whatever. So, sure. But yeah, I'm still wondering if it's like, are they just not like barking up the wrong tree entirely? Like they're assuming he's the big evil that's sweeping the land, but we know it's actually the God hand or something. But
they're going to be like a coming to Jesus moment, for lack of a better term, where they understand what's going on and then it's too late and they're just fodder for another slaughter. I'm guessing.
Or it's like we were kind of taking exception to the way this guy is handling himself, but he's sort of on our side in a weird way. Yeah. Like he's fighting evil, which we should ostensibly be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he's kind of sparring with Farnese during the interrogation or whatever, is he alluding to the Count and his massacres in the name of the church, or someone else that I can't recall?
I have no idea.
I get like, because he was a crusader, right? Like this is sort of the Crusades in a way is the backdrop to some of this, and we're getting into more of an Inquisition type period. Which is why I can't help but keep thinking about the Roman Catholic Church being the analog to this.
Right.
They're Italian. Like what else? Yeah. Who else would it be?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I guess I was just like, he's seen firsthand like evil done in the name of a god or a higher power, so he's not really trucking with that. And then he talks about like, have you ever seen a god? And I'm assuming he's talking about like the weird dark god of man that he saw.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah.
Which I assuming the presence of that thing was everywhere, but Griffith's the one that really saw it, right? In that deleted section you talked about.
Oh, like, yeah. Yeah, I think
the God of Darkness or whatever. Yeah, okay. But at any rate, Guts has more firsthand evidence or knowledge of of what the supernatural realm in this universe kind of looks like. So, yeah. This stuff too, like I guess I've only alluded to one From Software thing. I will bring up one more. Like there in those stories, there's always kind of like some holy order or like some maiden or something that's on like a righteous quest with her knights.
Yeah.
These guys kind of give me those vibes. Like if you were to play miracle magic or something, a miracle build or whatever.
Yeah, they would have like the dude tells you the spells.
Yeah, like the holy magic seems to be what these guys truck in, but there's sort of a darkness to how they're doing it too.
Well, because they're not holy. They're a bunch of, like you said, preppy.
They're self-righteous, not actually righteous or something. Yeah.
Because aren't they like nobles and like rich kids, like literally in this that have joined?
Yeah, it almost made me think like this is a bunch of kids wanting to put like I was a knight on my resume or something, and they're doing like an intern program over the summer or something.
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, you put on armor and had a sword or whatever, but you're not really like on the same level as the previous battalions and things that we've seen. So
it would be the like hollowed in that area in the video game where Azan or Azan or whatever would be the boss for that area.
Yeah, I guess so. Like they were easily dispatched soldiers versus like, okay, this guy's like actually done some stuff. I did really like that character. I hope there's more good stuff in store for some of these people because but it's kind of a mini story, so this is kind of a mini episode. I can't really stretch anymore. So
no, I don't think there's any need to. This definitely feels just kind of like some glue. This is like a story to hold two bigger chapters together.
I guess kind of like Jill's little story. It also has like that, like from her perspective thing. Like I had an interaction with this bizarre character, and like she kind of closes the chapter on it of just like, oh, that guy. Like there's when she wakes up and he's been battling all night and is kind of in the sun or whatever. She's sort of internally wrestling with. That's when she's set upon by the evil version of herself or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. And anything on the creepy sword straddling bit, or just move on?
That part made me uncomfortable. Yeah. That's like one of those parts that I almost felt like pain or something. Oh God, there's like even the one panel where she's sitting.
It's a bit much, yeah. It's like what does and doesn't get mosaicked or drawn. It's kind of like I don't know the rules.
Yeah, I don't either, because they definitely show like the silhouette of horse dong in one of them.
You do get that. Whereas like previous times, it's kind of like, well, I get that Griffith isn't a eunuch or anything, but we're kind of really obscuring what's going on. Whereas here, maybe it's like, it's a horse. It's not the same, but
but I mean, it's still being played up in a sexual manner
in the same way. Yeah. So
that part is the women in these stories get treated absolutely fucking terribly. It's bad.
Yeah, there's still some character depth and things that are making it not terrible, but yeah, it's getting pretty rough for these people. I just hope it settles down some, maybe as Miura ages. I don't know. But if it's the story it's being told, and if it's demons, it's sort of their realm to attack you on that front.
Yeah, I don't think any of it's out of context. It's just
and in isolation, it's like, what are you reading there? Like, it's like, this is a manga. This is respectable.
Yeah, this is art. Excuse me, it's called art.
Yeah, it's like this is R-rated art, but still, yeah. Anyway, Farnese, we'll see more of them. Hopefully I'm saying it better this time. But hey, if you want to, I guess he doesn't really go berserk in this one, right? Like he doesn't.
He definitely does, right? Because I think the implication is that around the end here, when he has that memory and he kills the horse, he fights all night after that.
He does fight all night. I guess you just don't get the kind of like limit break activate, like eyes turn white moment, really. It's just kind of he has enough fuel to fight, but you know, we don't need to get into all of it. We've already seen him dice up a bunch of monster dogs and chop up a horse. So yeah, there you go.
I think it's going to get intense though in the next one, like the next full chapter, which is, I think it's 4 volumes.
We're getting into a much bigger story, and I've seen a little bit ahead, and they definitely set up some cool adversaries. So there's going to be some business going forward. But okay, so maybe Guts didn't go berserk, but we in general have gone berserk, and that's who you should email. I have gone berserk@gmail.com for your feedback and questions.
Yeah,
should you?
I did get some feedback.
Okay,
I got some feedback from Dead, referred to as, and they basically like what we're doing here.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it seems like the enthusiasm, like it was a long email. Otherwise I would just read it, but it was like in paragraph form, like it was a letter.
Okay.
In general, it's the enthusiasm and kind of just like, I don't know, maybe I guess the excitement of what this thing is representing, the themes and stuff but yeah, I mean, it was appreciated. We also got a meme email that I'm not even going to bother bringing up because it's an insult that has gone too far. And
it's like SpongeBob and Doc Brown or something.
It was basically just like, I know how Guts feels now. And then like a picture of something at me. Like it's literally a meme.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the email has been used. I just wanted to bring that up.
Great. Yeah. So I have gone berserk Gmail. It's hard. Like this is probably the biggest manga I've ever taken a look at. It's the most sprawling tale I've ever read. So
you seem to be into it, like quite into it.
Yeah. No. If anything, I've been a bit like I've had volume 18 sitting around for a while, but I don't want to read too far ahead for the show's purposes. But I'm looking forward to resuming forward momentum after what I've seen in the rest of volume 17. So it's gonna be tricky figuring out where to cut off next time because it is a sprawling chapter.
Yeah, it might be one of those ones where we just have a giant conversation and I, in post, find a stopping point to cut it into 2 halves.
Oh, is that how it's gone in the past with mega stories?
It did for the like whole eclipse talk, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, everything after Wild and to the end of the Golden Age. Like, all right, we had a 4-hour conversation and I like split it up into 2.
Okay. And yeah, hopefully Ben will be back next week and we'll get more perspectives on the next story. And I keep not wanting to gauge like how much from him I can bring up per episode because it's not really what he's done, but it's obviously left footprints and things I care about.
Yeah, I think I like that part. See, that's the part Ben and I have.
There's at least troubles. 2 characters I've seen already that are just like, oh, dude, concept art. Like, that's just full on a thing I've seen.
Okay.
So it's like, I should almost be making like a running notes of just like comparison pages or something. Screenshot next to this. Am I crazy or is that exactly? So we'll see more of that in the future.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
I'll try to describe it.
That's kind of the blind spot I have with Ben is that I like that stuff, but he far enough into like any of the FromSoft or just like,
okay,
I want to have this conversation, but fuck all about it. So
okay.
Yeah. So
I don't mean to like be taking away the creativity of FromSoft. I just mean like, hey,
no, totally.
Great stuff's inspiring more great stuff in a different medium. So
absolutely.
It's really exciting. But okay. But until next time, the send off. Keep going berserk, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Limit break. But yeah.